Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
The return of one of the most legendary fantasy universes in cinematic history is finally becoming a reality as excitement grows around the upcoming film Masters of the Universe, 2026. For decades, this iconic story has lived in the hearts of fans who grew up watching the heroic adventures of powerful warriors, mystical kingdoms, and the eternal battle between good and evil. Now, a new generation is preparing to experience this world in a modern cinematic form, while longtime fans are eager to see how the story will evolve for today's audiences. At the center of this universe lies the mythical planet Eternia, a place where advanced technology and ancient magic exist side by side. Eternia is not just another fantasy world. It is a realm filled with towering castles, mysterious forests, powerful artifacts, and legendary warriors who dedicate their lives to protecting the balance of power across the land. The fate of this world has always revolved around one central hero whose destiny is tied to the most powerful weapon in the universe. That hero is Prince Adam, a young royal who lives a life that appears ordinary on the surface but hides an extraordinary secret. Though he may appear relaxed, carefree, and sometimes even underestimated by those around him, Prince Adam carries within him the responsibility of becoming something far greater when the moment demands it. Through the legendary Sword of Power, Adam transforms into the mighty He-Man, a warrior whose strength is unmatched and whose purpose is to defend Eternia from the forces that threaten its peace. This transformation is not simply about physical power. It represents the courage to accept responsibility and the willingness to protect others even when the odds seem impossible. The new film aims to explore this transformation in a deeper and more emotional way than previous adaptations. Instead of presenting the story purely as a battle between heroes and villains, the narrative is expected to focus on Adam's personal journey as he learns what it truly means to carry the weight of Eternia's future on his shoulders. Being a hero is not always easy, especially when that hero must hide his true identity from those closest to him. Adam must constantly balance two worlds: the life of a prince within the royal palace and the life of He-Man, the defender of an entire planet. Within the grand walls of Castle Grayskull, the heart of Eternia's mystical power resides. This ancient fortress is far more than a castle. It is a symbol of knowledge, magic, and the source of the power that fuels He-Man's transformation. Guarding its secrets is the wise and mysterious sorceress, a protector whose understanding of Eternia's ancient history makes her one of the most important figures in the entire kingdom. The sorceress understands that the balance between good and evil on Eternia is delicate. The power contained within Castle Grayskull must remain protected at all costs, because if it ever falls into the wrong hands, the consequences could be catastrophic. And unfortunately, there is one enemy who has dedicated his entire existence to claiming that power for himself. That enemy is Skeletor. Skeletor is more than just a villain seeking conquest. He is a cunning and relentless warlord whose obsession with controlling the secrets of Castle Grayskull has driven him to wage countless battles against the defenders of Eternia. With his skull-like face, dark magic, and strategic mind, Skeletor represents the ultimate threat to the peace of the planet. In the upcoming film, Skeletor's ambitions are expected to be even more dangerous than before. Instead of simply attacking Eternia's defenses through brute force, he may attempt a more calculated strategy designed to break the kingdom from within. He commands an army of unusual and powerful followers, each possessing their own abilities and motivations. From monstrous warriors to cunning strategists, Skeletor's forces represent the chaotic side of Eternia's supernatural world. But Eternia is not defenseless. Standing beside Prince Adam and He-Man is a group of loyal allies who have sworn to protect the kingdom and stand against Skeletor's growing power. Among these warriors is the fearless Teela, a skilled fighter whose loyalty to the royal family and dedication to justice make her one of Eternia's strongest defenders. Teela has trained her entire life to become a protector of the kingdom, and her bravery often places her directly in the path of danger. Though she may not know Adam's secret identity, her connection to him forms one of the most important relationships within the story. Another key ally is Man-At-Arms, the kingdom's brilliant weapons master and military strategist. Known for his intelligence and engineering skills, he creates advanced technology designed to defend Eternia from threats both magical and mechanical. His experience and wisdom make him a guiding figure for many of the younger warriors who fight beside him. Together, these heroes form a team capable of standing against Skeletor's forces, but even their combined strength may not always be enough. Eternia is a vast world filled with unknown territories, ancient secrets, and powerful artifacts that could change the balance of power forever. The upcoming movie is expected to explore more of Eternia's landscapes than ever before. Massive mountains, mysterious deserts, hidden temples, and forgotten ruins could all play a role in the unfolding story. Each location carries its own history, hinting at a civilization that has existed for thousands of years. As the conflict between He-Man and Skeletor intensifies, these locations may hold clues to ancient powers that have long been hidden from both sides of the battle. Another fascinating aspect of the film will likely be its exploration of Eternia's past. The legends surrounding Castle Grayskull and the origins of the Sword of Power have always been surrounded by mystery. Some stories suggest that the castle was built by ancient guardians who understood the dangers of the power they were protecting. Others claim that Eternia itself was once the center of a much larger cosmic conflict involving forces beyond the planet. If the film chooses to explore these legends, audiences could witness a deeper mythology that expands the universe far beyond what has previously been shown on screen. Visually, the 2026 adaptation is expected to present Eternia with a level of detail and scale that earlier versions could only imagine. Modern filmmaking technology allows fantasy worlds to be brought to life with incredible realism, creating environments that feel both magical and believable. The towering gates of Castle Grayskull, the glowing energy of the Sword of Power, and the intimidating presence of Skeletor's dark fortress could all become unforgettable cinematic moments. The film's tone is also expected to balance epic adventure with emotional storytelling. While action sequences and battles will certainly play a major role, the heart of the story remains the personal journey of Prince Adam. His transformation into He-Man is not just a magical moment. It represents the moment when someone chooses courage over fear, and that choice may ultimately determine the fate of Eternia itself. The cast chosen for the film brings together a group of actors capable of portraying both the heroic spirit and the dramatic tension required for such a legendary story. Each character carries their own motivations, fears, and strengths, allowing the narrative to explore the complex relationships that shape the battle between good and evil. As anticipation builds, fans around the world continue speculating about how faithfully the film will honor the classic mythology while also introducing new elements designed to surprise modern audiences. Some expect the story to remain closely connected to the traditional themes that made the franchise so beloved. Others believe the filmmakers may take bold creative risks, expanding the universe in ways that could redefine the legend for years to come. Regardless of the direction the film ultimately takes, one thing is certain. The return of Masters of the Universe represents more than just another fantasy movie. It represents the revival of a legendary hero whose story has inspired generations. And as the release date approaches, the world is once again preparing to hear the words that symbolize hope, power, and courage across Eternia. Because when Prince Adam raises the Sword of Power and calls upon its magic, the fate of an entire universe may once again depend on the strength of the hero known as He-Man. The battle for Eternia is about to begin again. As anticipation continues building around Masters of the Universe, 2026, the story begins expanding beyond the simple idea of a hero protecting a kingdom. What truly makes the universe of Eternia so fascinating is the complexity of the world itself. It is not just a battlefield between good and evil, but a living civilization filled with ancient secrets, powerful alliances, and characters whose choices could determine the fate of the entire planet. Within the royal kingdom of Eternos, life appears peaceful on the surface. The palace stands as a symbol of stability and leadership, where King Rander rules with wisdom and determination. As the ruler of Eternia, He carries the heavy responsibility of protecting his people from the threats that constantly emerge from beyond the kingdom's borders. King Randor is a respected leader, but he is also a father who cares deeply about his son, Prince Adam. Like many parents in positions of power, he hopes that Adam will eventually grow into a strong and responsible ruler capable of guiding Eternia through uncertain times. However, what Randor does not realize is that his son is already carrying a burden far greater than anyone could imagine: Adam's secret identity, as He-Man forces him to live two very different lives. In the royal court, he must act like a young prince learning about leadership and diplomacy, while in secret, he becomes the most powerful warrior in Eternia. This dual identity creates a constant tension within him, because the people he loves most cannot know the truth about who he really is. Every time danger appears, Adam must quietly disappear and return as He-Man, protecting the kingdom without revealing the connection between the two identities. This secrecy adds emotional depth to the story, because Adam often feels the weight of responsibility while being unable to share the truth with those closest to him. Meanwhile, beyond the safety of the royal palace, the forces of darkness continue gathering strength. Skeletor's fortress, known as Snake Mountain, stands as a dark reflection of Castle Grayskull. Surrounded by jagged cliffs and filled with dangerous energy, this stronghold serves as the headquarters for Skeletor's operations. From this location, he studies ancient spells, plans his next attacks, and commands an army of followers who believe in his vision of domination. Skeletor is not simply driven by anger or revenge. His ultimate goal is control over the power of Castle Grayskull, because he believes that whoever commands that power can rule not only Eternia, but potentially the entire universe. This obsession makes him one of the most dangerous enemies the kingdom has ever faced. In the upcoming film, the rivalry between He-Man and Skeletor is expected to reach new levels of intensity. Their conflict represents more than a physical battle. It symbolizes two completely different philosophies about power. He-Man fights to protect others, believing that strength should always serve justice and compassion. Skeletor, on the other hand, sees power as something that should be seized and used to dominate anyone who stands in the way. This philosophical clash gives their confrontations emotional weight, transforming their battles into moments that shape the destiny of Eternia. Alongside Skeletor are several unusual allies whose presence adds unpredictability to the story. Some are powerful warriors with monstrous strength, while others rely on intelligence, technology, or dark magic. Each of them plays a role in Skeletor's strategy to weaken the kingdom and eventually seize control of Castle Grayskull. But Skeletor's forces are not the only mysteries waiting to be explored in the film. Eternia itself contains countless hidden locations that may become important as the story unfolds. Ancient ruins scattered across deserts and forests hint at civilizations that existed long before the current kingdom was formed. Some of these ruins may contain forgotten knowledge or artifacts that possess incredible power. Exploring these locations could become a crucial part of the narrative, as both heroes and villains search for advantages that might tip the balance of power. For Prince Adam and his allies, these discoveries may reveal deeper truths about the origins of Eternia's magic and the real purpose behind the Sword of Power. The sword itself remains one of the most legendary objects in the entire universe. Forged through ancient magic and tied directly to the energy of Castle Grayskull, it acts as the key that unlocks Adam's transformation into He-Man. When raised toward the sky, the sword channels lightning-like energy that flows through Adam, transforming him into the champion destined to defend Eternia. This transformation scene has always been one of the most iconic moments in the franchise, and fans are eager to see how the new film will present it using modern cinematic technology. With advanced visual effects, the moment when Adam becomes He-Man could be portrayed with breathtaking scale and intensity. But beyond the spectacle, the transformation also carries symbolic meaning. It reminds audiences that true strength often comes from accepting responsibility rather than avoiding it. Adam does not seek power for personal glory. Instead, he accepts the role because he understands that someone must stand between the world and the darkness threatening to consume it. This theme of responsibility runs throughout the entire story, influencing the actions of nearly every character. Teela must decide what kind of leader she wants to become as she grows into her role as one of Eternia's strongest defenders. Man-At-Arms must balance his duties as a strategist and mentor while ensuring that the kingdom's defenses remain strong. Even the sorceress faces difficult choices as the guardian of Castle Grayskull. She understands that the castle's power must remain protected, but she also knows that the future of Eternia depends on those who are brave enough to wield that power wisely. As the film progresses, these characters will likely face moments where their loyalty, courage, and beliefs are tested. Some of those moments may involve intense battles against Skeletor's forces, while others may focus on emotional decisions that reveal the true character of the heroes. At the same time, the scale of the story continues expanding beyond the immediate conflict. Legends within the world of Eternia often speak of other dimensions, ancient cosmic forces, and powerful beings that exist far beyond the planet itself. These myths suggest that the struggle between good and evil in Eternia could be connected to a much larger cosmic balance. If the film chooses to explore these elements, it could open the door to an even greater universe of stories in the future. This possibility has already sparked excitement among fans who hope the movie will become the beginning of a larger cinematic universe inspired by the original mythology. Another aspect generating excitement is the potential tone of the film. While earlier adaptations often focused heavily on action and adventure, the new version appears designed to combine epic fantasy with deeper character development. The filmmakers seem interested in exploring what it truly means to become a hero. Instead of portraying He-Man simply as an unstoppable warrior, the story may show the emotional journey that leads Adam to embrace his destiny. This approach allows the audience to connect more deeply with the character, understanding not only his strength, but also the challenges he faces behind the scenes. As the story moves toward its most intense moments, the battle for Castle Grayskull will likely become the central focus. Skeletor's determination to claim the castle's power may push him to launch his most dangerous attack yet. The defenders of Eternia will have to unite in ways they never have before, combining courage, intelligence, and trust in order to stop him. For Adam, this moment represents the ultimate test of everything he has learned. Becoming He-Man is not just about wielding power. It is about inspiring hope in those who fight beside him. If he can lead his allies through the coming conflict, Eternia may finally have a chance to secure lasting peace. But if Skeletor succeeds in unlocking the secrets of Castle Grayskull, the consequences could reach far beyond the borders of a single planet. As the story approaches its climax, audiences will likely witness breathtaking battles, emotional sacrifices, and moments that define the true meaning of heroism. The fate of Eternia, the legacy of Castle Grayskull, and the destiny of Prince Adam are all connected in ways that will shape the future of the universe. And as fans around the world wait for the film's release, one thing remains certain. The legend of He-Man is about to return in a way that introduces the world of Masters of the Universe to a brand new generation, a generation ready to witness the rise of a hero whose strength is matched only by his courage. Because when the sword of power is raised once again, the call of destiny will echo across Eternia. As the story of Masters of the Universe, 2026, continues unfolding, the tension across Eternia slowly begins to rise. What once seemed like a distant threat gradually becomes something far more immediate as rumors spread across the kingdom about unusual movements from Skeletor's forces. Villages located near the outer regions of Eternia begin reporting strange sightings in the skies and mysterious figures traveling through ancient ruins that were once considered forgotten. These reports reach the royal palace in Eternos, where King Randor and his advisors begin to understand that Skeletor may be preparing for something much larger than the occasional attacks that have occurred in the past. Instead of small battles meant to test the kingdom's defenses, it appears that Skeletor is organizing a much more strategic plan, one that could challenge the balance of power across the entire planet. For Prince Adam, this growing tension creates a sense of urgency that he cannot ignore. While he continues living his daily life within the palace walls, he feels the responsibility of He-Man's role pressing heavily on his mind. Each new report of danger reminds him that the safety of Eternia ultimately depends on the decisions he makes. Despite the pressure, Adam also understands that acting too quickly could lead to mistakes. The secret of his transformation must remain protected, because if Skeletor ever discovered the connection between the prince and the champion of Grayskull, the consequences could be devastating for the royal family and everyone who depends on them. Meanwhile, deep within the dark fortress of Snake Mountain, Skeletor is quietly putting the final pieces of his plan into place. Unlike previous attempts to seize power through direct confrontation, this time he appears focused on gathering knowledge rather than launching immediate attacks. Ancient scrolls, forgotten maps, and mysterious artifacts are brought into his fortress by loyal followers who search across the farthest corners of Eternia. These objects may hold clues connected to the ancient origins of Castle Grayskull and the powerful energy hidden within its walls. Skeletor has always believed that the power of Grayskull is far greater than anyone truly understands. To him, the castle is not simply a stronghold protected by magic. It is the key to unlocking a force capable of reshaping the entire universe. But accessing that power requires knowledge that has been lost for centuries. As Skeletor studies the ancient texts gathered by his followers, he begins uncovering fragments of forgotten history. Stories about the earliest guardians of Eternia and the mysterious beings who first created the Sword of Power. These legends suggest that the magic tied to Grayskull may have connections reaching far beyond the planet itself. If Skeletor can uncover the full truth behind these legends, he believes he may finally gain the advantage he has sought for so long. While Skeletor pursues his research, the heroes of Eternia continue preparing for whatever danger may be approaching. Teela leads training sessions for the kingdom's guards, ensuring that every soldier remains ready to defend the palace if necessary. Her leadership skills continue growing stronger with each passing day, earning the respect of both experienced warriors and new recruits. The Man-At-Arms works tirelessly in his workshop, designing new defensive systems and advanced weapons that could help protect the kingdom from large-scale attacks. His understanding of both technology and strategy allows him to anticipate possible threats before they occur. Within Castle Grayskull itself, the sorceress senses that something unusual is beginning to stir within the ancient magic surrounding the castle. The energy that protects Grayskull has always responded to disturbances across Eternia, and recently those signals have grown stronger. Although the sorceress cannot yet determine the exact cause, she understands that powerful forces may soon collide. Because of this, she sends a message requesting that Prince Adam visit the castle. The sorceress knows that if the coming conflict is truly connected to the secrets of Grayskull, Adam will need to be fully prepared for the responsibility that awaits him. When Adam arrives at the ancient fortress, he immediately senses the powerful energy that surrounds it. The massive gates, the towering stone walls, and the mysterious aura of the castle all serve as reminders of the destiny he carries. Inside the castle, the sorceress shares her concerns about the shifting balance of magic across Eternia. She explains that the power of Grayskull was never meant to belong to any single ruler. Instead, it exists to protect the natural balance of the universe. That is why the Sword of Power was created, to allow a worthy champion to channel that energy only when necessary. But if someone like Skeletor were ever able to control the source of that power directly, the consequences could be unimaginable. Adam listens carefully, understanding that the coming conflict may test him in ways he has never experienced before. Being He-Man has always required courage and strength, but the battles ahead may demand even greater wisdom and leadership. Meanwhile, beyond the borders of the kingdom, several mysterious events begin unfolding that suggest Skeletor's plan is already in motion. Small groups of his followers are seen traveling through ancient temples hidden deep within Eternia's wilderness. These temples are believed to have been built by civilizations that existed thousands of years ago, long before the rise of the current kingdom. Some historians believe these structures were once used by ancient guardians who protected powerful artifacts connected to Eternia's magical history. If Skeletor is searching these locations, it may mean he believes one of those artifacts could help him unlock the secrets of Grayskull. These discoveries prompt the heroes of Eternia to begin their own investigations. Rather than waiting for Skeletor to strike, they decide to explore some of these ancient locations themselves in hopes of understanding what their enemy might be searching for. Prince Adam, Teela, and Man-At-Arms soon find themselves traveling beyond the safety of the palace and into parts of Eternia that few people have ever seen. Their journey takes them across vast deserts where ancient ruins rise from the sand like forgotten monuments. They travel through dense forests filled with towering trees that have existed for centuries. And they explore hidden caves where mysterious symbols carved into the stone walls hint at stories lost to time. Every new discovery reveals that the history of Eternia is far more complex than anyone previously believed. Some of the ancient inscriptions speak of powerful cosmic energies that once flowed freely across the planet. Others describe legendary warriors who protected those energies from forces that sought to control them. These stories begin to connect with the legends surrounding Castle Grayskull and the creation of the Sword of Power. Slowly, a larger picture begins forming. It becomes clear that the battle between He-Man and Skeletor is not simply a rivalry between two powerful individuals. Instead, it may be part of a much older conflict that has existed since the earliest days of Eternia's civilization. If Skeletor succeeds in unlocking the secrets hidden within these ancient locations, he could gain access to forces that were never meant to be controlled. As the heroes continue their exploration, the urgency of their mission grows stronger. Every step they take brings them closer to discovering the truth behind Skeletor's plan. But it also brings them closer to confronting dangers that have remained hidden for centuries. For Prince Adam, the journey becomes more than a mission to stop an enemy. It becomes a path toward understanding the true meaning of the power he carries as He-Man. The destiny of Eternia may soon depend not only on his strength in battle, but also on his ability to understand the ancient legacy that connects the Sword of Power, Castle Grayskull, and the mysterious forces that have shaped the universe since the beginning of time. And as these discoveries continue unfolding, one thing becomes increasingly clear. The battle for Eternia is about to enter a new and far more dangerous chapter. As the journey across Eternia continues, the discoveries made by Prince Adam and his allies begin to reveal a deeper layer of the planet's forgotten history. The ancient temples and ruins scattered across the land are not simply abandoned structures left behind by vanished civilizations. They are part of a much larger network that once protected powerful secrets tied directly to the magic of the universe. Each ruin they explore contains fragments of a story that has been hidden for thousands of years. Symbols carved into stone walls, mysterious statues guarding long-forgotten halls, and strange energy patterns lingering in the air all point to a time when Eternia served as the center of a powerful cosmic balance. Man-At-Arms carefully studies the markings found in these locations. His knowledge of both technology and ancient culture allows him to piece together clues that others might overlook. Slowly, he begins to suspect that the legends surrounding Castle Grayskull may only represent a small part of a much larger mystery. According to some of the inscriptions, Eternia was once protected by a group known as the First Guardians. These beings were said to possess incredible knowledge about both science and magic, using their understanding to maintain harmony between powerful forces that existed throughout the universe. Rather than allowing this energy to remain uncontrolled, the First Guardians created a system designed to protect it. They built several sacred sites across Eternia, each connected to the others through invisible channels of power. At the center of this network stood the most important structure of all, Castle Grayskull. The castle was not just a fortress meant to defend against enemies. It was designed as a gateway that controlled the flow of cosmic energy throughout Eternia. The Sword of Power served as the key that allowed a chosen champion to safely access this energy whenever the planet faced danger. These discoveries confirm something that the sorceress had long suspected. The power of Grayskull is far greater than anyone has fully understood. If Skeletor were somehow able to unlock the deeper secrets hidden within these ancient structures, he could potentially gain access to forces capable of reshaping the entire universe. For Prince Adam, hearing this truth creates a mixture of determination and concern. He has always understood that becoming He-Man meant protecting Eternia from powerful enemies, but now he realizes that his role carries an even greater responsibility. The Sword of Power is not simply a weapon. It is the final safeguard protecting the balance that the First Guardians created long ago. Meanwhile, far away from the hero's expedition, Skeletor continues advancing his own search for knowledge. Deep within Snake Mountain, he studies the artifacts brought back by his followers. Among them are fragments of ancient crystals and pieces of metal that appear to have once been part of a much larger mechanism. These objects seem to react whenever Skeletor brings them close to certain magical energies, suggesting that they may be connected to the same network of power that links the ancient temples to Castle Grayskull. Skeletor's intelligence and patience make him extremely dangerous during this stage of his plan. Instead of rushing into battle, he carefully analyzes every discovery, slowly assembling the information needed to reach his ultimate goal. One particular artifact captures his attention more than any other. It is a mysterious circular device covered with unfamiliar symbols that glow faintly whenever it is exposed to magical energy. The markings on its surface resemble some of the same symbols that appear in the ancient ruins scattered across Eternia. After studying the device for several days, Skeletor begins to believe it may be a key capable of activating one of the hidden gateways created by the first Guardians. If he can find the correct location where this device belongs, it might unlock a path leading directly to the deeper energy source that powers Castle Grayskull. While Skeletor continues deciphering the artifact's secrets, Prince Adam and his companions reach one of the most important ruins they have discovered so far. Hidden within a mountain canyon, the structure appears older and larger than any of the others. Massive stone pillars stand at the entrance, covered with ancient carvings that depict warriors holding swords raised toward the sky. These figures seem to represent early champions who once protected the same power that He-Man now carries. Inside the ruins, the group finds a vast underground chamber illuminated by a faint blue glow coming from the walls themselves. Strange geometric patterns stretch across the floor, forming what appears to be an enormous energy circuit carved directly into the stone. As Man-At-Arms examines the design, he realizes that this chamber may have once served as a control center for the ancient energy network. The patterns on the floor resemble the pathways that connect multiple sacred sites across Eternia that, if activated, this location might reveal how all the ancient structures work together. Teela carefully studies the surrounding area, remaining alert for signs that Skeletor's forces may have already discovered the same location. Although everything appears quiet, she knows that such a powerful site would be a prime target for anyone seeking to control the energy connected to Grayskull. Prince Adam steps into the center of the chamber, feeling the faint vibration of energy beneath his feet. The atmosphere within the room carries a strange sense of history, as though the walls themselves remember events that occurred thousands of years ago. For a moment, Adam considers what might happen if Skeletor were to reach this place before them. The possibility strengthens his determination to ensure that the secrets of these ruins never fall into the wrong hands. At that moment, the ancient symbols along the walls suddenly begin glowing brighter, reacting to the presence of the sword of power that Adam carries with him. The energy patterns on the floor slowly illuminate as well, forming a complex map that stretches across the chamber. Man-At-Arms immediately realizes what they are seeing. The chamber is showing them the full network of sacred sites connected to Castle Grayskull. Small points of light appear across the map, each representing one of the ancient temples scattered throughout Eternia. Lines of energy connect them all together, forming a vast system designed to channel power toward the castle at the center. But something else appears on the map as well. One particular location begins glowing more intensely than the others. According to the symbols surrounding it, that site may contain the primary gateway controlling the entire energy network. If someone were able to access that gateway, they could potentially redirect the flow of power away from Castle Grayskull and toward another location. For Skeletor, such control would mean unlimited power. For the heroes of Eternia, it means that the race to protect the gateway has now become their most urgent mission. The map shows that the location lies deep within one of Eternia's most dangerous territories, a region filled with unpredictable landscapes and hidden dangers left behind by ancient civilizations. Reaching it will not be easy, but if they fail to arrive before Skeletor, the consequences could be catastrophic. As Prince Adam and his allies prepare to continue their journey, the reality of the situation becomes clear. The battle for Eternia is no longer limited to defending the kingdom's borders or stopping occasional attacks. With the discovery of the ancient energy map inside the hidden mountain chamber, the mission for Prince Adam and his allies suddenly becomes far more urgent. The glowing map revealed something none of them had fully realized before. The sacred sites scattered across Eternia are not isolated ruins. They are part of a massive planetary system built long ago by the first Guardians to control and stabilize the cosmic power flowing through the world. At the center of that system stands Castle Grayskull. But the gateway location highlighted on the map appears to be the primary control point capable of redirecting that energy. If Skeletor reaches that gateway and learns how to manipulate the power flowing through it, he may gain the ability to weaken Grayskull's protective magic or even channel its power into his own fortress at Snake Mountain. Such an outcome would completely shift the balance between good and evil across Eternia. Man-At-Arms quickly records the map's details, carefully studying the terrain surrounding the gateway location. The ancient markings indicate that the site lies within a region known as the Shadow Expanse, a mysterious part of Eternia that has remained largely unexplored for centuries. Legends about the Shadow Expanse describe it as a land where the environment itself seems to shift and change. Vast stone structures rise unexpectedly from the ground. Deep caverns stretch beneath the surface, and strange magnetic forces occasionally interfere with navigation. Because of these unusual conditions, most travelers avoid the region entirely. But now, the heroes of Eternia have no choice. If Skeletor is searching for the same gateway, and it seems very likely that he is, the race to reach it has already begun. Prince Adam understands that their next steps must be taken quickly but carefully. Traveling through dangerous territory without preparation could place the entire mission at risk. Before leaving the mountain ruins, the group carefully examines the chamber one last time, hoping to uncover any additional clues left behind by the first Guardians. Their search eventually reveals a hidden alcove containing several ancient relics. Among them is a metallic device shaped like a triangular compass, engraved with the same glowing symbols found across the chamber walls. When Man-At-Arms studies the device, he realizes that it may serve as a navigation tool designed specifically for the ancient energy network. Unlike ordinary compasses that point toward magnetic north, this device appears to react to the flow of cosmic energy connected to the sacred sites. In other words, it could guide them directly toward the gateway. The discovery provides the heroes with a critical advantage, but it also raises an unsettling question. If the first Guardians created such devices, it is possible that Skeletor may already possess something similar. Meanwhile, deep within the dark corridors of Snake Mountain, Skeletor continues studying the mysterious circular artifact he discovered earlier. His research has begun revealing important details about its purpose. The device appears to function as an activation key designed to interact with one of the ancient gateways built by the first Guardians. By inserting the artifact into a specific control structure located at the gateway site, Skeletor may be able to access the energy flowing through the entire network. However, the device alone is not enough to control that power. According to the ancient text Skeletor has deciphered, the energy of the network responds most strongly to the Sword of Power itself. This realization fuels Skeletor's determination even further. If he can lure He-Man to the gateway location and seize the sword during the confrontation, he may gain the ability to fully control the cosmic energy that the first Guardians once protected. Such power would make him unstoppable, and so Skeletor begins preparing the next stage of his plan. Rather than searching blindly for the gateway, he sends several groups of scouts across Eternia to locate the region described in the ancient texts. These scouts are instructed to search for unusual energy signals or structures that match the descriptions found in the old records. Slowly but steadily, the pieces of the puzzle begin falling into place. Back on the hero's journey, Prince Adam, Teela, and Man-At-Arms begin their long trek toward the Shadow Expanse. The landscapes of Eternia shift dramatically as they travel farther away from the kingdom of Eternos. The green forests and peaceful valleys surrounding the capital eventually give way to rocky plateaus and vast open plains where the wind constantly sweeps across the terrain. After several days of travel, the group begins noticing strange environmental changes. Large stone formations appear in unnatural shapes, as if they were carved by forces far beyond ordinary geological processes. Some of these formations even contain fragments of ancient architecture embedded within them. suggesting that entire structures may have collapsed or been buried over thousands of years. Man-At-Arms believes these remnants may once have been part of the larger network of temples built by the first Guardians. As they approach the borders of the Shadow Expanse, the navigation device recovered from the mountain chamber begins glowing faintly. Its symbols shift slowly, indicating that powerful energy currents are flowing somewhere ahead. Teela studies the surrounding horizon carefully, sensing that they may not be alone in this remote territory. Her instincts prove correct when they discover fresh tracks crossing the rocky ground nearby. The marks clearly belong to creatures often used by Skeletor's forces for transportation. This means that Skeletor's scouts have already entered the region. The race to reach the gateway is now fully underway. Prince Adam realizes that their mission may soon require him to transform into He-Man if they encounter enemy forces directly. However, he must remain cautious. Revealing He-Man's presence too early could alert Skeletor to their exact location. Instead, the group decides to move forward quietly, relying on the navigation device to guide them through the unpredictable terrain of the Shadow Expanse. The deeper they travel into the region, the more unusual the environment becomes. Certain areas seem to distort sound, making distant echoes travel in strange directions. In other places, faint pulses of energy ripple through the ground beneath their feet, suggesting that the ancient network buried beneath Eternia's surface is still active after thousands of years. Eventually, after several tense hours of exploration, the navigation device begins glowing more intensely than ever before. The symbols rotate rapidly, pointing toward a massive canyon carved into the heart of the Shadow Expanse. Standing at the edge of the canyon, the heroes look down into a vast underground basin where enormous stone structures rise from the depths like the remains of an ancient city. At the center of this hidden valley stands the gateway. The structure is unlike anything they have seen before. Towering pillars form a circular formation surrounding a central platform covered with glowing runes. Strange channels carved into the ground extend outward from the platform, connecting the gateway to the invisible energy network stretching across the entire planet. The power contained within the site is immense. But as the heroes begin planning how to approach the gateway safely, Teela suddenly notices movement among the distant structures. Dark figures emerge from behind the ancient pillars. Skeletor's forces have arrived. The discovery of Skeletor's forces already occupying parts of the ancient gateway site instantly raises the stakes for Prince Adam and his allies. From the edge of the canyon overlooking the hidden valley, the heroes observe the enemy movement carefully. Dark armored figures patrol between the towering pillars, and several mechanical transport creatures stand near the central platform where the glowing runes pulse with energy. It is immediately clear that Skeletor's scouts did not simply stumble upon this place by accident. They have already begun examining the gateway, attempting to understand how it functions. Teela studies the enemy positions with the focused discipline she developed through years of training. She quickly notices that although the scouts are heavily armed, they appear cautious. None of them are touching the central platform itself. Man-At-Arms believes this hesitation likely means the scouts do not yet understand how to activate the gateway. They may be waiting for Skeletor to arrive personally with whatever artifact or knowledge he believes will unlock its power. This realization gives the heroes a narrow window of opportunity. If they can reach the gateway first and learn how to disable or protect it, they may prevent Skeletor from accessing the cosmic energy network entirely. Prince Adam knows that the moment for caution is nearly over. Moving through the canyon quietly may still allow them to reach the gateway before Skeletor himself arrives, but the presence of enemy patrols means confrontation is almost inevitable. After studying the terrain, the group identifies a hidden path descending along the canyon wall. Large rock formations provide natural cover that could allow them to approach the valley floor without being immediately detected. Carefully, they begin their descent. The air within the canyon grows noticeably heavier as they move deeper into the basin. Strange currents of energy ripple faintly through the atmosphere, causing the ancient runes carved into the pillars to glow more brightly whenever the wind shifts across the valley. Man-At-Arms realizes that the gateway is still active in some way. The energy flowing beneath Eternia's surface continues moving through this site, even after thousands of years. If someone finds the correct way to control that flow, the power available here could surpass anything seen before. Eventually, the heroes reach the valley floor and move quietly between the enormous pillars surrounding the gateway. From this close distance, the scale of the structure becomes even more impressive. Each pillar rises nearly 50 feet into the air, carved with layers of intricate symbols representing ancient cosmic forces. Between them, the central platform glows with a steady pulse of blue and white energy, as if the heart of the planet itself were beating beneath the stone. As they approach the platform, the triangular navigation device recovered from the mountain ruins begins vibrating in Man-At-Arms' hand. The symbols on its surface align perfectly with the markings engraved around the gateway. It confirms that this location truly is the main control point for the entire network. However, before they can begin studying the structure further, one of Skeletor's patrols suddenly appears from behind a nearby pillar. The moment of stealth is over. Teela reacts instantly, drawing her weapon and stepping forward to intercept the approaching soldiers before they can raise an alarm. The clash between the warriors echoes sharply through the valley, breaking the silence that had surrounded the ancient site for centuries. More enemy scouts begin moving toward the sound of battle. Man-At-Arms quickly realizes that the fight will attract attention from every corner of the basin. If they do not act quickly, they could soon be surrounded. Prince Adam knows what must happen next. Moving behind one of the massive pillars, he raises the Sword of Power and speaks the words that unlock its magic. Lightning-like energy erupts from the sky, striking the blade and surrounding him with brilliant light. In a moment of immense power, Prince Adam transforms into He-Man. The sudden surge of energy radiating from the transformation causes the ancient gateway to react. The runes across the platform begin glowing brighter than before, recognizing the presence of the sword that was originally designed to control the network. When He-Man steps forward into the open battlefield, the remaining enemy scouts freeze for a moment in shock. The champion of Eternia has arrived. The battle that follows is swift but intense. He-Man moves with incredible strength and speed, disarming Skeletor's soldiers while protecting Teela and Man-At-Arms as they continue studying the gateway structure. Despite the chaos of the fight, He-Man remains careful not to damage the ancient platform. Destroying the gateway could disrupt the energy network in unpredictable ways, potentially harming Eternia itself. Instead, he focuses on driving the enemy scouts away from the central chamber. However, the situation changes dramatically when a powerful burst of dark energy suddenly erupts from the far side of the valley. A new figure appears between the towering pillars. Skeletor has arrived. His presence sends a wave of fear through the remaining soldiers, who immediately fall back to allow their master to step forward. Cloaked in dark armor and surrounded by swirling magical energy, Skeletor surveys the battlefield with a cold sense of satisfaction. His gaze locks directly onto He-Man. For years, their rivalry has defined the struggle for control of Eternia. But this time, Skeletor appears unusually confident. He raises his hand and reveals the circular artifact he recovered earlier, the ancient device designed to activate the gateway. The symbols on its surface begin glowing as it reacts to the energy radiating from the platform. Skeletor laughs, explaining that while He-Man and his allies searched for answers across the ruins of Eternia, he was already discovering the key needed to unlock the gateway's true power. All he requires now is the final piece of the puzzle, the Sword of Power. If Skeletor can combine the artifact with the energy channeled through He-Man's sword, he believes he will gain complete control over the cosmic network built by the first Guardians. The ground beneath the valley begins trembling as Skeletor moves toward the gateway platform. The ancient runes flare brighter, reacting to both the sword and the artifact simultaneously. Man-At-Arms quickly realizes what is happening. The gateway is beginning to activate. Energy streams start flowing through the channels carved into the stone floor, connecting the pillars surrounding the valley in a massive circuit of power. If Skeletor manages to complete the activation process, he may gain access to the full energy reserves flowing beneath Eternia. And once that happens, stopping him may become impossible. He-Man steps forward to block Skeletor's path. The final battle for control of the gateway has begun. As the energy within the ancient gateway begins rising to dangerous levels, The entire hidden valley of the Shadow Expanse trembles under the pressure of forces that have not been awakened for thousands of years. The glowing runes carved into the circular platform shine brighter with every passing second, sending waves of light across the towering pillars surrounding the battlefield. He-Man stands firmly between Skeletor and the gateway's center, gripping the sword of power as its energy continues responding to the awakening network beneath Eternia. The sword hums with power, almost as if it recognizes the ancient system that was originally built to channel its strength. Skeletor watches this reaction with fascination rather than fear. To him, this moment represents the final step of a plan that has been forming for years. The gateway is responding exactly as he hoped. The artifact in his hand begins glowing with the same blue energy flowing across the runes on the ground. He raises the device slowly, aligning its symbols with those carved into the central platform. At the same time, Teela and Man-At-Arms rush toward the outer edge of the platform, examining the energy channels as they pulse with increasing intensity. Man-At-Arms quickly realizes that the gateway structure is more complex than they first believed. The circular platform does not simply channel power in one direction. Instead, it acts like a massive control hub capable of redirecting the cosmic energy flowing through Eternia's hidden network. If Skeletor successfully activates the gateway using both the artifact and the Sword of Power, he could redirect the entire energy flow towards Snake Mountain. Such power would give him the ability to reshape entire regions of the planet or even tear open dimensional pathways beyond Eternia itself. Teela immediately understands the danger. If the gateway becomes fully active under Skeletor's control, there may be no way to stop him without destroying the network entirely, and that could cause catastrophic damage to Eternia. The only solution is to stop Skeletor before the activation process is complete. Meanwhile, Skeletor continues advancing toward the platform's center, his skeletal grin widening as the ancient system responds to the artifact in his hand. The glowing symbols align with one another, forming a circular pattern that begins spinning slowly beneath his feet. He speaks confidently to He-Man, explaining that the first Guardians made a fatal mistake when they created the Sword of Power. They believed only a noble champion would ever wield such a weapon. But Skeletor sees the sword differently. To him, it is simply a tool, one that he intends to claim for himself. Without hesitation, Skeletor unleashes a burst of dark magic toward He-Man, forcing the champion of Eternia to raise the Sword of Power defensively. The clash between the two energies sends shockwaves across the platform, causing several of the ancient pillars to crack as the gateway's power surges even higher. He-Man counters with a powerful strike, forcing Skeletor to step back temporarily. The two rivals circle one another across the glowing platform as the ancient machinery beneath them continues activating. Their battle represents more than a personal rivalry. It is a clash between two completely different visions of power. He-Man fights to protect the balance created by the first Guardians. Skeletor fights to control it. As their duel intensifies, the surrounding battlefield becomes increasingly chaotic. Skeletor's remaining soldiers move in to assist their master, attempting to keep Teela and Man-At-Arms away from the central controls of the gateway. Teela meets them head-on, her fighting skills allowing her to hold back multiple attackers while Man-At-Arms continues searching for a way to interrupt the energy flow. The engineer quickly identifies several key nodes within the circular pattern of runes. These nodes appear to act as stabilizers, regulating the flow of cosmic power through the gateway. If the nodes are disrupted, the system might temporarily shut down, but reaching them will require crossing directly through the heart of the battlefield. Man-At-Arms signals to Teela, explaining his plan. Without hesitation, she pushes forward with renewed determination, clearing a path through the enemy soldiers while protecting him as he moves toward the nearest stabilizing node. At the same time, the duel between He-Man and Skeletor reaches its most intense stage. Skeletor's magic grows stronger as the gateway continues feeding energy into the artifact he carries. Dark lightning spreads across the platform, striking the pillars and sending fragments of ancient stone crashing down around the combatants. He-Man realizes that the longer the battle continues, the stronger Skeletor's connection to the gateway will become. He must end the fight quickly. Drawing upon the full power of the Sword of Power, He-Man channels a surge of energy directly into the ground beneath him. The glowing runes react instantly, sending a brilliant wave of light across the platform that momentarily disrupts Skeletor's spell. This brief opening allows Teela and Man-At-Arms to reach one of the stabilizing nodes. Man-At-Arms quickly activates a device from his armor, using it to overload the ancient mechanism controlling the node. Sparks of energy erupt from the ground as the stabilizer begins malfunctioning. The gateway's glow flickers. For a moment, the entire network hesitates. Skeletor immediately notices what is happening. The violent tremors shaking the shadow expanse grow stronger as the ancient gateway struggles to contain the immense surge of energy flowing through its long-dormant network. The circular platform glows with blinding intensity, the runes blazing like streams of living fire across the stone floor. Every pulse of power sends waves of light racing up the towering pillars that surround the valley. High above, dark clouds gather as if the sky itself is reacting to the awakening force beneath Eternia. He-Man rises from the shattered stone where Skeletor's last blast threw him. Dust and fragments of ancient rock fall from his armor as he tightens his grip on the Sword of Power. The blade radiates a powerful glow now, brighter than it has been at any moment before. The sword is not just responding to the gateway, it is synchronizing with it. For thousands of years, the Sword of Power has existed as a symbol of Eternia's protection, but now its deeper purpose is becoming clear. It was designed to interact with the cosmic network built by the first Guardians. And the gateway beneath the shadow expanse is the center of that entire system. Skeletor understands this as well. Standing at the heart of the glowing platform, he raises the ancient artifact higher into the air. The device hums violently as it absorbs energy from the gateway below. Cracks of blue lightning crawl across its surface, linking the artifact's symbols to the glowing runes beneath Skeletor's feet. He laughs with growing excitement. This is the power he has always sought. The power to command Eternia itself. But the system is not fully under his control yet. The gateway remains unstable because the stabilizing nodes scattered around the platform continue regulating the energy flow. That is exactly what Man-At-Arms and Teela are trying to destroy. Near the edge of the platform, Man-At-Arms finishes overloading the first stabilizing node. The ancient mechanism sparks wildly before collapsing into silence. Instantly, a section of the glowing rune circle flickers and fades. The gateway stutters. The enormous surge of energy momentarily weakens. Skeletor notices immediately. His eyes burn with rage as he realizes the heroes are sabotaging the system faster than he expected. If too many stabilizers fail before the gateway fully activates, the entire network could shut down again. He cannot allow that to happen. With a furious roar, Skeletor unleashes another blast of dark magic toward Teela and Man-At-Arms, hoping to eliminate them before they reach the remaining nodes. The attack streaks across the battlefield like a comet of black lightning. But He-Man moves faster. Leaping between Skeletor's magic and his allies, he swings the Sword of Power in a wide arc. The blade catches the incoming energy and deflects it upward into the storm clouds above the canyon. The explosion of magic lights up the sky like a second sun. The clash sends shockwaves rippling through the valley. Chunks of ancient stone break loose from the canyon walls as the gateway's power continues spiraling out of control. Teela uses the moment of distraction to sprint toward the second stabilizing node on the far side of the platform. Enemy soldiers rush to intercept her, but she moves with incredible precision, dodging their attacks and knocking them aside with swift strikes. She knows that every second matters now. If they hesitate, Skeletor will complete the activation. Man-At-Arms follows closely behind her, scanning the energy patterns flowing through the platform. His instruments confirm what he feared. The gateway is reaching a critical threshold. Either the stabilizers shut the system down, or Skeletor finishes activating it. There is no middle ground. At the center of the platform, the duel between He-Man and Skeletor explodes into an even greater level of intensity. Skeletor's artifact continues feeding power into his dark magic, making his attacks stronger with every strike. Bolts of energy slash across the battlefield as the two titans clash again and again. Each impact shakes the ancient structure beneath them. For a moment, Skeletor manages to force He-Man backward toward the glowing heart of the gateway. Dark lightning coils around the Sword of Power as Skeletor attempts to pull the weapon toward the artifact in his hand. If he can combine both objects within the gateway's energy field, he may gain absolute control. The ground beneath them splits open as the gateway reacts to their struggle. A column of raw cosmic energy erupts from the center of the platform, rising into the sky like a beam connecting Eternia to the stars. The network is activating, but not completely. At the edge of the battlefield, Teela finally reaches the second stabilizing node. With enemy soldiers closing in around her, she shouts for Man-At-Arms to hurry. He kneels beside the ancient mechanism, quickly connecting another overload device. The moment the device activates, the node explodes in a burst of sparks and fading light. Another section of the rune circle collapses. The energy beam above the gateway flickers violently. Skeletor feels the disruption immediately. His concentration falters for a split second as the artifact in his hand surges uncontrollably. He turns toward the heroes with blazing fury. "You fools," he shouts. "You would destroy the greatest power Eternia has ever known." The storm raging above the shadow expanse grows more violent with every passing moment. Lightning spreads across the dark sky like cracks in reality itself, each flash illuminating the towering pillars surrounding the ancient gateway. The massive beam of cosmic energy erupting from the platform continues to pulse between stability and collapse, casting waves of blue and white light across the battlefield. The entire valley now feels alive with power. He-Man and Skeletor stand at the center of this storm, their battle driving the unstable gateway closer to its breaking point. The Sword of Power glows brighter than ever before in He-Man's hands. Its energy seems almost connected to the massive beam rising into the sky. Each movement of the blade sends ripples through the runes beneath the platform, as if the ancient system still recognizes the weapon as its rightful key. But Skeletor refuses to yield control. The artifact in his hand now burns with dangerous intensity, its surface covered in glowing symbols that shift and twist as it absorbs power from the gateway. Dark energy coils around Skeletor's body like living shadows. For years he has searched for a way to match the power of the Sword of Power. Now he believes he has found something even greater. He raises the artifact again, forcing another surge of magic into the unstable gateway. The beam of energy above the valley grows wider, brighter, more violent. The ground trembles violently as cracks begin spreading through the ancient platform. If the energy continues rising at this pace, the gateway may soon become uncontrollable. But Skeletor does not care. In his mind, absolute power is worth any risk. Across the battlefield, Teela continues fighting her way toward the third stabilizing node. Skeletor's remaining soldiers guard it fiercely, forming a defensive wall around the ancient mechanism. They understand their master's command clearly. If the stabilizer is destroyed, the gateway may shut down. Teela charges forward anyway. Her movements are fast, precise, relentless. She fights with the confidence of someone who knows the survival of her world depends on reaching that final control point. Behind her, Man-At-Arms works quickly to analyze the energy readings flowing through the platform. His instruments show that the gateway is reaching critical overload levels. Only one stabilizer remains after this one. If they destroy it in time, the entire network will collapse before Skeletor can complete the activation. But time is running out faster than he expected. At the center of the platform, Skeletor suddenly unleashes one of the most powerful blasts of dark magic he has ever conjured. The attack slams into He-Man with explosive force, sending the champion of Eternia crashing across the glowing stone. For a moment, Skeletor sees his opportunity that he steps toward the fallen hero, raising the artifact and preparing to draw the Sword of Power directly into the gateway's energy field. If he succeeds, the system will lock onto the sword's power permanently. But He-Man refuses to surrender. Even as the platform cracks beneath him, he rises once again, lifting the Sword of Power toward the swirling beam above the valley. The blade catches the light of the cosmic energy, reflecting it outward in a brilliant wave that spreads across the battlefield. For the first time, the gateway responds to He-Man more strongly than it does to Skeletor. The beam shifts. The energy hesitates. Skeletor's eyes narrow with growing frustration. The realization fills him with furious determination. If the gateway refuses to obey him, then he will simply force it to. With a scream of rage, Skeletor channels every ounce of dark magic he possesses into the artifact. The device begins glowing almost blindingly bright, its ancient symbols spinning rapidly as it attempts to override the gateway's natural alignment. The entire valley shakes violently. The pillars surrounding the platform begin collapsing under the pressure of the uncontrolled energy surge. Chunks of ancient stone crash down around the battlefield as the gateway teeters on the edge of destruction. Meanwhile, Teela finally reaches the third stabilizing node. The soldiers guarding it rush forward, but she pushes through them with incredible determination. Her weapon strikes the mechanism's control panel, holding the defenders back long enough for Man-At-Arms to activate another overload device. Sparks erupt from the node as the ancient mechanism begins failing. Skeletor senses the disruption instantly. His control over the gateway weakens for a brief moment as the third stabilizer collapses. The beam of energy above the valley flickers violently. Now only one stabilizing node remains active. One final control point stands between Skeletor and total failure. Man-At-Arms studies the readings on his device with growing urgency. The gateway is seconds away from either full activation or total shutdown. There is no more time for careful planning. Teela turns toward the final stabilizer at the far side of the platform. Enemy soldiers immediately rush to defend it. But this time, He-Man moves first. With incredible speed, he charges across the battlefield, cutting a path through the remaining guards protecting the final node. His strength sends enemies flying as he clears the way toward the last control point. Skeletor sees what he is doing. Panic flashes across his face for the first time. If that final stabilizer falls, the gateway will shut down completely. With a furious roar, Skeletor launches himself toward He-Man, unleashing a storm of dark magic in a desperate attempt to stop him. The entire battlefield explodes with light and energy as the two rivals collide once more. Above them, the massive beam of cosmic power flickers violently between creation and collapse. The fate of Eternia now rests on the outcome of the next few seconds. If the final stabilizer is destroyed, the gateway will fall silent. But if Skeletor stops them first, the power of the ancient network will become his forever. The final moments of the battle inside the Shadow Expanse unfold with an intensity that none of the warriors on the battlefield have ever experienced before. The ancient gateway roars with unstable power, the massive beam of cosmic energy above the valley now flickering wildly, as if the entire structure is struggling to decide whether it should awaken fully or collapse back into silence. Lightning explodes across the sky as the storm above the canyon reaches its peak. Every pillar surrounding the platform trembles under the strain of forces that have not been unleashed for thousands of years. At the center of the chaos, He-Man races toward the final stabilizing node that still regulates the gateway's power. The Sword of Power shines like a beacon in the darkness, its glow cutting through the dust and energy swirling across the battlefield. He knows that destroying the final stabilizer is the only way to stop Skeletor from claiming the ancient network. But Skeletor understands that as well. With a furious roar of rage and desperation, the Dark Warlord launches himself forward through the storm of energy, his skeletal staff blazing with dark magic as he attempts to intercept He-Man before he can reach the final control point. Their collision shakes the platform like a thunderclap. The Sword of Power meets Skeletor's magic in a blinding explosion of light and shadow. The impact sends cracks racing across the glowing stone beneath their feet as the gateway trembles violently under the pressure of the two opposing forces. For a moment, neither warrior moves. They stand locked in a struggle of strength and will, each pushing against the other with everything they have left. Around them, the battlefield begins to collapse. The ancient pillars that once surrounded the gateway start crumbling under the strain of the unstable energy. Massive fragments of stone crash into the canyon floor as the entire valley shakes with increasing violence. Teela and Man-At-Arms struggle to maintain their footing as the ground beneath them continues breaking apart. They both know that time has almost run out. If the gateway remains active much longer, the entire structure could explode with enough force to devastate the surrounding region of Eternia. But if Skeletor completes the activation first, the consequences may be even worse. At the center of the platform, Skeletor begins forcing He-Man backward with a surge of dark power drawn directly from the artifact in his hand. The ancient device glows with dangerous intensity now, feeding raw cosmic energy into Skeletor's magic. "You see it now, He-Man," Skeletor shouts over the thunder of the storm. "This power belongs to whoever has the strength to claim it." He-Man pushes back with equal determination, refusing to allow the Dark Warlord to advance any further. "Power like this isn't meant to be owned," He-Man replies firmly. "It's meant to protect Eternia." The clash between them grows even more violent. Energy erupts outward in waves that ripple across the platform, sending soldiers from both sides scrambling to avoid the deadly blasts of light and shadow. The beam above the valley flickers again. The gateway is losing stability. Teela looks toward the final stabilizer and realizes that He-Man cannot reach it while Skeletor continues blocking his path. Without hesitation, she charges forward. Enemy soldiers attempt to stop her, but she moves with unstoppable determination. Dodging their attacks, she pushes through the chaos toward the last control node still glowing faintly near the edge of the platform. Man-At-Arms follows behind her, preparing the final overload device. They both know that if this last stabilizer falls, the gateway will shut down completely. But reaching it will not be easy. Skeletor notices their movement almost instantly. Even while battling He-Man, he understands exactly what they are trying to do. If that final node is destroyed, the artifact in his hand will lose its connection to the network, and the power he has spent years chasing will disappear forever. With a furious scream, Skeletor unleashes one final surge of magic. Dark lightning explodes outward from his staff, slamming into the platform and creating a massive shockwave that spreads across the battlefield. The blast throws Teela and Man-At-Arms off their feet just as they approach the stabilizer. For a moment, it appears that Skeletor has succeeded in stopping them. But He-Man seizes the opportunity created by Skeletor's momentary distraction. Summoning every ounce of strength within him, he raises the sword of power high above his head. The blade catches the raging energy flowing from the gateway and redirects it outward in a massive burst of light. The power surges through the platform like a wave crashing across the ocean. The ancient runes flare brighter than ever before. For a brief instant, the gateway seems to recognize the champion chosen by the Sword of Power. The beam of cosmic energy above the valley steadies. Skeletor staggers backward, shocked by the sudden shift in the gateway's response. He realizes too late what has happened. The system is no longer responding to the artifact. It is responding to He-Man. At that exact moment, Teela reaches the final stabilizer. Man-At-Arms activates the overload device and slams it into the ancient control mechanism. The stabilizer erupts in a shower of sparks and fading light. For a split second, everything becomes silent. Then the gateway collapses. The massive beam of cosmic energy vanishes instantly, disappearing into the dark clouds above the valley. The glowing runes across the platform flicker one last time before fading completely. The ancient network shuts down. Without the stabilizers regulating the system, the gateway can no longer remain active. The artifact in Skeletor's hand dims instantly, its power draining away as the connection to the network disappears. Skeletor stares at the lifeless device in disbelief. Years of searching, years of planning, gone in a single moment. His rage explodes across the battlefield as he unleashes a final blast of dark magic toward He-Man. But the gateway's collapse has already weakened his power. He-Man easily deflects the attack with the Sword of Power. The battle is over. With the ancient network dormant once again, Skeletor's dream of controlling Eternia's greatest power has been shattered. The surviving soldiers retreat quickly, dragging their furious master away from the collapsing ruins of the gateway. As the storm clouds begin slowly clearing above the canyon, silence returns to the shadow expanse. The ancient gateway now lies dark and silent beneath the broken pillars that once surrounded it. He-Man lowers the Sword of Power, watching as the last sparks of energy fade from the platform. Eternia is safe, for now, but deep beneath the surface of the planet, the cosmic network built by the first Guardians still exists, waiting quietly in the darkness. The storm above the shadow expanse slowly begins to fade after the gateway collapses. The massive beam of cosmic energy that once pierced the sky is gone, leaving only drifting clouds and scattered lightning far above the canyon. The violent tremors that shook the valley moments earlier gradually settle, allowing the broken ruins of the ancient gateway to fall silent once again. Dust drifts through the air as fragments of the fallen pillars lie scattered across the battlefield. For the first time since the conflict began, the valley grows quiet. He-Man stands at the center of the ruined platform, the sword of power still glowing faintly in his hand. The blade no longer burns with the intense energy it displayed during the battle. Instead, it hums softly, as if the weapon itself is slowly returning to its natural state. Teela and Man-At-Arms approach carefully from the far side of the shattered platform. Both of them are exhausted from the battle, but relief is clear in their expressions. The gateway is no longer active. The cosmic network beneath Eternia has fallen dormant again. Man-At-Arms studies the remains of the stabilizing nodes and the fractured runes carved into the stone. His instruments confirm what they had hoped. The network has shut down completely. Without the stabilizers and the activation sequence that Skeletor attempted to force, the ancient system has sealed itself once again deep beneath the surface of the planet. But even as the immediate danger fades, Man-At-Arms cannot ignore the deeper implications of what they have discovered. The first Guardians built something far more powerful than anyone on Eternia ever realized. A hidden network capable of channeling immense cosmic forces. And although the gateway in the shadow expanse has collapsed, the rest of the system still exists somewhere beneath the planet's crust. He turns toward He-Man, explaining that what they encountered today was only one control point within a much larger structure. If other gateways like this one remain hidden across Eternia, they could one day become targets for anyone seeking the same power Skeletor tried to claim. He-Man listens carefully, understanding the seriousness of the discovery. Protecting Eternia will require more than simply defeating Skeletor in battle. It will require guarding the secrets of the ancient network itself. Teela surveys the destroyed battlefield as the last of Skeletor's soldiers disappear into the distant canyon passages. The Dark Warlord retreated quickly once the gateway shut down, taking his surviving forces back toward Snake Mountain. Although the battle was won, she knows Skeletor will not forget what happened here. He came closer than ever to gaining the ultimate power he desired. And now he knows that such power truly exists. For a long moment, the three heroes stand in silence as the wind moves through the broken pillars of the ruined gateway. Eventually, He-Man raises the sword of power once more. Lightning strikes briefly from the clearing sky above as the transformation energy fades away. The glow surrounding the champion of Eternia disappears, and Prince Adam stands once again in the quiet valley. Even though the battle has ended, the weight of responsibility remains on his shoulders. Adam looks out across the canyon where the ancient gateway once stood as a fully active structure. Now it lies partially buried beneath fallen stone, its glowing runes dark and silent. He realizes that Eternia's history is far deeper than he ever imagined. The first Guardians who created the Sword of Power were not simply protecting their world from ordinary enemies. They were protecting something much greater, something that could reshape the fate of entire civilizations if it ever fell into the wrong hands. Man-At-Arms kneels beside the remains of the artifact Skeletor used during the battle. The device lies cracked and powerless on the stone floor, its once glowing symbols now completely faded. He carefully picks it up and examines the damage. Although the artifact no longer contains energy, its design still reveals valuable information about the ancient technology used by the first Guardians. Studying it may help them understand how the network was originally built and how it might be protected in the future. Teela suggests that they return to Castle Grayskull immediately. The sorceress may know more about the origins of the network and why the first Guardians created it. If other gateways exist across Eternia, they must be located before Skeletor begins searching for them again. Prince Adam agrees. Although the battle in the shadow expanse has ended, the larger mystery surrounding Eternia's hidden power has only just begun. As the three heroes prepare to leave the ruined valley, the camera of this imagined story slowly pulls back to reveal the full scale of the destruction left behind. The towering pillars that once surrounded the gateway now lie broken across the canyon floor. The circular platform is cracked and partially collapsed. Yet faint lines of energy still glow far beneath the stone, hidden deep within the ancient network that continues sleeping below the surface. The gateway may be dormant, but the power it once controlled still exists. Days later, back at Castle Grayskull, the atmosphere within the great fortress is far calmer than the chaos that filled the shadow expanse. The sorceress listens carefully as Adam, Teela, and Man-At-Arms explain everything that happened during the battle. She is not surprised by their discovery. For centuries, the Guardians of Grayskull have known fragments of the truth about the cosmic network hidden beneath Eternia. But much of the knowledge was intentionally sealed away to prevent anyone from attempting to control it. The Sword of Power was created not just as a weapon, but as a safeguard. Only someone chosen to protect Eternia could safely interact with the ancient system. Skeletor, however, nearly bypassed that safeguard using the artifact he discovered. This realization concerns the sorceress deeply. It means the secrets of the first Guardians are not as secure as they once believed. Somewhere in the ruins scattered across Eternia, more pieces of the ancient network may still be waiting to be discovered. And if Skeletor continues searching, he may eventually find another gateway. Adam understands what this means. The responsibility of protecting Eternia is now greater than ever. The battle for control of the ancient network may not be over. In fact, it may only be beginning. As night falls outside Castle Grayskull, the stars shine brightly above the distant mountains. Far beneath the surface of Eternia, deep within the silent tunnels of the hidden network, faint streams of cosmic energy continue flowing quietly through the ancient pathways built by the first Guardians long ago. The system sleeps once more, but its power has not disappeared. It is only waiting. The quiet that settles over Castle Grayskull in the days following the battle feels almost unreal compared to the chaos that unfolded inside the shadow expanse. The massive stone fortress stands tall against the horizon of Eternia, its ancient walls glowing faintly under the soft light of the twin moons that rise slowly over the distant mountains. Within the great halls of the castle, Prince Adam walks beside Man-At-Arms and Teela as they continue discussing everything they learned during their encounter with the hidden gateway. Even though the immediate danger has passed, the weight of the discovery still lingers heavily on all of them. For generations, Eternia's greatest legends spoke about ancient powers buried deep within the world. Stories passed down through warriors, scholars, and guardians hinted at forgotten technologies and mysterious energy sources left behind by the first Guardians. But until now, those stories were often treated as myths. The battle in the shadow expanse proved that the legends were real. Deep beneath the surface of Eternia, a vast network of cosmic energy continues flowing through ancient pathways built thousands of years ago. The gateway they encountered was only one of the control points designed to regulate that power. Man-At-Arms spreads several newly created maps across a large stone table inside the castle's strategy chamber. Using the readings he gathered during the battle, he has begun identifying possible locations where other gateways might exist. The patterns of energy beneath Eternia appear to follow a massive grid-like structure. If his calculations are correct, the first Guardians may have built several gateways across different regions of the planet. Each one likely served as a control station for the network. That means the ruined gateway in the shadow expanse was not the only one Skeletor could try to access. Teela studies the map carefully, noticing how the possible locations stretch across distant territories that even the royal armies rarely explore. Some of the areas lie deep within dangerous regions filled with ancient ruins and unpredictable landscapes. If Skeletor begins searching for those places, it could lead to battles across the entire world. Prince Adam understands the seriousness of that possibility. Although Skeletor retreated after the gateway collapsed, the Dark Warlord is not the kind of enemy who accepts defeat easily. If anything, the battle may have only strengthened his determination to uncover more of the first Guardian's secrets. And now he knows the ancient network truly exists. The sorceress soon joins them in the strategy chamber, her presence bringing a sense of calm to the room. She explains that the first Guardians were not merely protectors of Eternia. They were explorers of cosmic forces far beyond the understanding of modern civilizations. The network they created was originally meant to maintain balance across the planet by regulating powerful streams of natural energy flowing through its core. Without proper control, those energies could have destabilized entire regions of the world. The gateways served as balancing points, allowing the Guardians to redirect or contain those forces whenever necessary. But over time, the knowledge required to operate the network safely was lost. When the first Guardians disappeared from history, the secrets of their technology were intentionally hidden to prevent future generations from misusing such dangerous power. The Sword of Power was one of the few remaining keys designed to interact with the system. That is why the Gateway responded so strongly to He-Man during the battle. The network recognized the sword as part of its original design. However, Skeletor's artifact proved that fragments of the ancient technology still exist outside the control of Castle Grayskull. If more artifacts like that remain scattered across Eternia, they could allow someone determined enough to bypass the safeguards created by the first Guardians. Man-At-Arms believes their next step must be clear. They cannot simply wait for Skeletor to find the remaining gateways first. Instead, they must locate those sites themselves and secure them before anyone else can reach them. This will require expeditions into unexplored territories across Eternia, places filled with forgotten ruins, dangerous creatures, and mysteries that have remained untouched for centuries. Teela welcomes the challenge. Protecting Eternia has always required courage, but now it will also require uncovering the truths buried deep within the planet's history. Prince Adam looks out from one of the high windows of Castle Grayskull toward the distant horizon. Somewhere beyond those mountains and forests lie the other pieces of the ancient network. The future of Eternia may depend on finding them first. But far away from the peaceful halls of the castle, another figure is already thinking about the same secrets. Deep within the dark fortress of Snake Mountain, Skeletor stands alone inside his shadow-filled throne chamber. The broken artifact from the Shadow Expanse rests on a stone pedestal before him. Although the device no longer holds power, its design continues to fascinate him. The battle at the gateway may have ended in failure, but Skeletor does not see it that way. Instead, he sees it as proof that the power he has spent his life chasing truly exists, proof that the ancient network beneath Eternia can be awakened. He studies the cracked artifact carefully, his mind already forming new plans. If one gateway exists, then others must exist as well, and somewhere out there may be a way to control them all. A slow smile spreads across Skeletor's skeletal face. Next time, he will be ready. Back at Castle Grayskull, the heroes prepare for the journeys that lie ahead. The discovery of the hidden network has changed everything they thought they knew about Eternia's past. The battles to come may take them across deserts, forests, oceans, and forgotten cities buried beneath the sand. Every gateway they find will reveal another piece of the first Guardian's legacy, and every step of that journey will bring them closer to the next inevitable confrontation with Skeletor. As the story reaches its quiet conclusion, the camera of imagination rises high above Eternia's vast landscape. Mountains stretch across the horizon. Ancient forests cover the valleys. And far beneath the surface of the world, the sleeping network created by the first Guardians continues glowing faintly in the darkness. Its power remains hidden. Its secrets remain protected. But somewhere within the depths of that ancient system, the energy still waits patiently for the day it might awaken again. Because on a world like Eternia, the struggle between power and protection never truly ends. In the weeks that follow the battle at the Shadow Expanse, Eternia slowly returns to its usual rhythm. The skies above the kingdoms grow calm again, trade routes reopen across the valleys, and the people of the planet continue their daily lives without realizing how close their world came to falling under the control of unimaginable power. Yet inside Castle Grayskull, the Guardians of Eternia know that the calm may only be temporary. Prince Adam spends many hours studying the information Man-At-Arms gathered from the ruined gateway. Detailed maps, energy scans, and fragments of ancient inscriptions now cover the strategy chamber walls. Each new piece of information reveals another hint about the hidden network that stretches deep beneath Eternia's surface. The more they learn, the more mysterious the system becomes. Man-At-Arms explains that the gateway in the Shadow Expanse was not simply a single control point. It was part of a much larger planetary structure designed to balance immense streams of cosmic energy moving through the planet's core. According to his calculations, The network may include multiple gateways scattered across different continents of Eternia. Some may still be intact. Others may have collapsed long ago and remain buried beneath ancient ruins. But if Skeletor begins searching for them, it will only be a matter of time before another gateway is discovered. Teela studies the maps closely, tracing the faint lines that Man-At-Arms believes represent the underground energy pathways. These lines stretch across oceans, deserts, frozen wastelands, and unexplored mountain ranges. Each possible gateway location lies in a region filled with dangers. Exploring them will not be easy, but waiting for Skeletor to reach them first would be far worse. Prince Adam agrees with that conclusion. The heroes of Eternia must begin their search immediately. The Sorceress of Grayskull listens carefully as the group discusses their plans. She reminds them that the first Guardians built the network not only to control power, but also to protect the planet from forces that existed far beyond Eternia itself. Long ago, powerful cosmic storms and unstable energy currents threatened to tear apart the balance of the world. The gateways allowed the Guardians to stabilize those forces and maintain harmony across the planet. If the network were ever reactivated incorrectly, the consequences might not be limited to Eternia alone. The energy flowing through those pathways could potentially open connections to other dimensions or distant regions of the universe. That possibility makes Skeletor's ambitions even more dangerous than before. He is not simply seeking power over a kingdom. He may unknowingly be tampering with forces capable of affecting the entire cosmic balance. Meanwhile, far from Castle Grayskull, Skeletor continues his own investigation inside the dark halls of Snake Mountain. The broken artifact recovered from the Shadow Expanse remains under careful study within his laboratory. Although the device lost its connection to the gateway when the stabilizers collapsed, traces of ancient energy patterns still linger within its design. Skeletor's mind works tirelessly as he examines every detail. He refuses to accept defeat. The gateway may have shut down, but it proved that the network is real. Somewhere across Eternia, other gateways must still exist. And if even one of them remains fully intact, he believes he can succeed next time. Using fragments of information gathered during the battle, Skeletor begins constructing his own maps of Eternia's hidden energy grid. His dark magic allows him to sense faint traces of the cosmic currents flowing beneath the surface of the planet. Each trace becomes another clue, another step closer to the power he seeks. Back at Castle Grayskull, preparations begin for the first expedition to search for additional gateways. Man-At-Arms equips a small team with advanced scanning devices designed to detect the same energy signatures they encountered in the Shadow Expanse. These instruments should help them locate other ancient control points hidden beneath layers of rock and ruins. Teela volunteers to lead the first exploration mission. Her experience as a warrior and strategist makes her the ideal leader for navigating dangerous territories where ancient structures may still remain buried. Prince Adam will travel with the team as well, knowing that if another gateway is discovered, the presence of the Sword of Power may once again become essential. The mission ahead represents more than a simple search. It is the beginning of a race between the heroes of Eternia and the dark ambition of Skeletor. Whoever finds the next gateway first will determine the future of the hidden network. On the morning of their departure, the gates of Castle Grayskull open as the expedition team prepares to leave. The sky above Eternia shines brightly, giving no sign of the ancient power sleeping beneath the world's surface. Prince Adam looks back at the towering fortress one last time before beginning the journey. He knows the road ahead will lead them into forgotten regions filled with mysteries that no living person fully understands. But protecting Eternia has always required courage in the face of the unknown. As the team rides toward the distant horizon, the story expands beyond the familiar lands surrounding Grayskull. Vast deserts stretch across the southern continent. Ancient forests cover the western valleys, and distant islands rise from the oceans far beyond the kingdom's borders. Somewhere within those unexplored lands, the next gateway may already be waiting. And somewhere else, Skeletor may be searching for it as well. The ancient network beneath Eternia continues glowing faintly within the darkness of the planet's core. Its power has slept for centuries, but now that its existence has been revealed, the race to control its secrets has truly begun. And the next chapter of Eternia's story is only just beginning. The expedition from Castle Grayskull travels for several days across the vast landscapes of Eternia, moving farther away from the familiar territories protected by the royal armies. The path ahead leads them into regions that have rarely been explored, places where ancient ruins and forgotten civilizations lie buried beneath centuries of dust and stone. Prince Adam rides beside Teela and Man-At-Arms as the small team follows the coordinates calculated from the energy patterns discovered during the battle at the Shadow Expanse. The scanning devices carried by Man-At-Arms occasionally emit faint signals, suggesting that traces of the ancient network may indeed exist somewhere within the region they are approaching. The journey itself reminds them how large and mysterious Eternia truly is. Rolling plains stretch endlessly across the horizon before gradually giving way to jagged mountain ranges that rise like enormous stone walls against the sky. Beyond those mountains lies a vast desert that has long been avoided by most travelers. Old legends describe the desert as a place filled with the ruins of ancient cities abandoned long before the modern kingdoms of Eternia were formed. If one of the gateways truly exists somewhere within those forgotten ruins, it could easily remain hidden for thousands of years. The expedition reaches the edge of the desert shortly before sunset. Golden light spreads across the endless sea of sand dunes as the wind carries faint whispers of shifting grains across the barren landscape. Man-At-Arms studies the readings from his scanner again. The signal has grown stronger. Somewhere beneath the desert, the same type of energy they encountered in the Shadow Expanse appears to be flowing quietly through the ancient network. Teela immediately orders the team to set up a temporary camp for the night. Traveling deeper into the desert without proper preparation could be dangerous, especially if hidden ruins lie beneath unstable dunes. As darkness falls over the desert, the sky fills with countless stars. The vast silence of the wasteland surrounds the small group, broken only by the distant wind moving across the sand. Prince Adam studies the glowing scanner device in Man-At-Arms' hands. The faint energy signal continues pulsing steadily. If their calculations are correct, the next gateway may be buried somewhere beneath this desert. But they are not the only ones searching. Far away, inside the dark halls of Snake Mountain, Skeletor continues analyzing the cosmic patterns he sensed during the collapse of the Shadow Expanse gateway. His magical instruments detect subtle disturbances in the planet's hidden energy network. One of those disturbances now appears to be coming from the same desert region where Adam and the others have traveled. Skeletor's skeletal grin widens as he studies the readings. The heroes of Eternia are already searching for the next gateway, and unknowingly, they may be leading him directly to it. Without wasting time, Skeletor begins preparing his own expedition. Unlike Adam's small scouting group, Skeletor intends to send a powerful force of warriors and machines capable of excavating ancient ruins quickly. If a gateway truly exists beneath the desert sands, he plans to uncover it before anyone else can stop him. Back in the desert, the heroes begin their search at sunrise. The team moves cautiously across the dunes while Man-At-Arms continuously scans the ground for stronger energy signals. As they travel deeper into the wasteland, strange stone formations begin appearing among the dunes, broken pillars and fragments of ancient architecture that hint at a civilization long buried beneath the sand. Teela examines one of the fallen structures and notices symbols carved into its surface. The markings resemble the same ancient runes they saw at the Shadow Expanse gateway. That discovery confirms their suspicion. They are standing on the remains of a forgotten city that may have once protected another control point of the cosmic network. Excitement and caution spread through the team at the same time. If the gateway lies beneath these ruins, they must locate it before Skeletor arrives. Man-At-Arms adjusts his scanner and begins tracing the strongest signal through the scattered remains of the buried city. The device eventually leads them toward a massive dune rising above the surrounding landscape. According to the readings, something enormous lies hidden beneath that mountain of sand. The heroes quickly begin clearing sections of the dune using specialized tools and equipment brought for the expedition. As the sand slowly shifts away, fragments of stone architecture begin emerging from beneath the surface. Huge pillars, circular platforms, and pieces of ancient machinery similar to the structures they encountered in the Shadow Expanse. The buried gateway is real. But before they can fully uncover the structure, a deep rumbling sound echoes across the desert. Teela turns toward the distant horizon and sees a dark shape approaching through the swirling sand. A fleet of Skeletor's machines is racing toward the ruins. Skeletor has arrived sooner than they expected. The peaceful desert suddenly transforms into a battlefield waiting to explode. Prince Adam looks toward the partially uncovered gateway beneath the sand. If Skeletor reaches it first, he may attempt another activation before they can secure the site. There is no time to hesitate. The race for control of the second gateway has begun. As the dark machines draw closer across the desert, Adam steps behind one of the massive stone pillars rising from the sand. He grips the sword of power tightly, knowing that the moment for action is approaching once again. Lightning cracks across the sky as he prepares to call upon the power that has protected Eternia for generations.